This video training is about business relationships. The relationships within your practice are more important than the relationships your business has with others. Very, very important. The key to building strong relationships within your company and for your business is effective communication. Communication increases commitment and connection, thus fueling the necessary actions required. No true relation can actually exist without effective communication taking place between all parties involved. And so in this video training, we just break in the different people or types of people that you're communicating with. There's a separate training that we do on innovative communication skills, which is very, very different from this one here. The other one focuses on innovative ways of communicating with different individuals and what scenarios present itself, and we share different communication tactics. Whereas with this one, we just profile in brief the different people that you're communicating with, right? For example, the communication that will take place within your practice would be from the leader to the team, correct? The owner and the leaders of the business need to be consistent, clear, and courteous in the interactions with the team as a whole. The leader needs to listen, invite, and encourage participation from the team. The leader or the business owner must help the team to concentrate on what they do well, help them do it better and consistently. A leader with great passion and few skills will always outperform a leader with great skills and no passion. That means that when the leader is full of fire, the people that he or she leads will be very hot. They'll come alive. You will see their energy. You will see their attitude. You will see their passion coming out when they are implementing the various activities that they need to do in the optometric practice. And so the energy of the business owner will be reflected in the energy of the team. And so it's very, very important that how you are as a leader, you might be a practice manager looking at this video right now and thinking, I am actually a leader. You are actually the person that the team is interacting with on a day-to-day basis regarding the daily activities in the practice, correct? And so you are also then a leader in that particular setup. So very, very important that how you communicate, it's based on what I've just said right now in terms of, are you setting people alight and igniting them so that they can get to a level that they have never been before? Are you lifting them up? Are you encouraging them? Are you listening to them? Are you engaging them as a two-way conversation? Are you hearing their point of view? Are you compassionate? Are you empathetic? Are you motivating? Are you inspiring? Those are characteristics of how you should be as a leader towards your team. However, then there's communication from the team to the leader. Optometric teams need to know that they can speak openly and directly to the leader. So when they look at you as the business owner and they have to now approach the optometrist or the practice manager, there's a difference here where we say there's a boss and then there's the leader. For example, the boss will drive his or her people, whereas the leader will coach them. The one depends on authority, whereas the leader is always on goodwill. One inspires fear, whereas the other one inspires passion and enthusiasm. The leader will always communicate we. The boss will always communicate I. Very, very important for you to understand. The major difference between the leader and the business and the boss. The boss fixes the blame for the breakdown, whereas the leader fixes the breakdown. The one knows how it is done, that's the boss, whereas the leader shows it how it's done. The one says go, whereas the leader will always say let's go. One will always focus on weaknesses of the team, whereas the other one will focus on strengths of the team. Why am I sharing this? This is very, very important because it influences how staff members approach the business owner, and so, or the practice manager, or the most senior individual in that particular practice. So you could be an optometrist also employed by the business and have a challenge with regards to how you communicate with your boss, or you are the one that people are struggling to communicate or engage because you are the person of authority in that particular practice. The one expects what they don't give from others, whereas the other one leads by example and expects nothing less than what they themselves give. puts strong emphasis on products and processes, that's the boss, whereas the leader is always emphasizing on the people. What do I mean? The one understands that you're building with the people. The other one, there's always a staff that is constantly changing in the practice because they're not happy, they feel like this is a terrible environment to work in, so they're constantly moving. The one, people follow him or her because of they're the ones paying their salaries, that's just the boss. Whereas the leader, people follow because they are influenced by him or her. And so that is a very, very critical component that is needing you to understand that are you in an environment where you've got a leader, or are you in an environment where you've got a boss? If you've got a boss, sit down as a team and start looking at different ways in which you guys can be on the same page. Because it's no good for you to sit there and say, it's a terrible environment, this person never listens, they're just terrible. It not only limits your growth potential as an individual, but it also affects you on a personal note, because you carry all that rubbish and you take it onto the next company that you're going to work in. So if you're in an environment where there's complete nonsense taking place, sort it out with urgency. It's very, very important that you are not in an environment that you are doing a lot of bad things, or you are in an environment that you are receiving a lot of bad things. Sit down, communicate that, look, how can we best communicate with one another in this environment for us to be able to be on the same page and add great value to ourselves as individuals, to our patients, but also to the business growth. Then there's communication amongst team members. Team members need to be supportive of each other, stay current and honest with each other. The optometric team must be able to count on each other when it counts. And this is made possible by the accountability system, which has got the following 5 characteristics. Characteristic number 1, character. And with regards to character, we say here, integrity to be worn by each team member. Second quality here is competence. Excellence being the only acceptable work ethic modeled. And next, commitment. Each team member must be dedicated to the team success. Fourth, consistency. Team members playing their individual roles. And then cohesion is the fifth one, the team coming together with action. And so each team member must be proud to be part of the business, desire to give their utmost best throughout all they do, and know that they will be recognized by the businesses for it. Therefore, the team needs to have organizational mottos, etc., so that you can establish your team's worth. And so just remember that the accountability system, it's character, competence, commitment, consistency, and cohesion. Very, very important that you guys are establishing yourself on the accountability system. One of the quickest ways you can actually do that in terms of helping you communicate amongst the team is take a piece of paper, notebook, break it down into different columns. Column number 1 could be what makes you mad. Next column, what makes you glad. Next column, what makes you sad. And the fourth column, what makes you come alive and be full of life, full of energy. And write that down amongst each other and share the notes with one another and then discuss it. You'll be very surprised that a lot of the times where people are clashing, they're clashing because of different personality triads that they have. You can even take it a step further and do a DISC personality assessment. Look at the different characteristics or components of a DISC personality chart, and then look at what qualities best represent you, what qualities best represent the next person, what qualities are applicable for the next employee or team member. And then you add that with the one that I just shared before in terms of what makes you glad, mad, sad, or what makes you come alive. Then you share notes and you discuss it with the team, and you'll realize that there are certain areas where there's similarities between team members. There are certain areas where there are complete major differences. And so whether there are similarities, how do we grow that and connect on that level? Where there are differences, how do we learn from one another in order to build a strong working relationship and create an awesome working environment that you look forward to being, because you know that I might not see things the way my colleague sees them, but I understand her point of view. This is how she prefers to be communicated with when she's not happy, when she's sad, when she's mad. This is how I expect to be communicated with in the same manner. So it helps when you've got accountability system taking place amongst the team. It creates a different working environment for you that you will look forward to being. And then, of course, there's communication between the team and the public. Optometric teams need to be receptive, responsive, and realistic when it comes to how they communicate with everyone not employed in the same company as them, right? And let's give you a few examples. Your business, for example, relates with 7 different types of people on a regular basis. And it is important that every one of your team members knows exactly how to communicate with each one. Type of person here would be the patient. The need that the patient desires most is a diagnosis. The action required is the management solutions. The results that will be achieved is that you would have solved a problem and there's a possible purchase. That's the level of the patient. The customer, on the other hand, the need that they desire is a prognosis. They're going to be purchasing something from you, obviously, because they are a customer. They're already wearing spectacles. Do you remember them from last time? Are you going to be creating an environment that is better or an experience that is better from what they had before? And the reason why they came to this practice, are you going to exceed the expectations or the requirements? And so the action that is required by the practice, the management solutions other than what they're currently using, needs to be well articulated so that you can say to them, sir or ma'am, this is what you've been wearing. This is how it has benefited you. But your problem actually requires the following. And this is what we are recommending as a management solution for you in order to solve your problem going forward. So that's how you're communicating with the customer. And it's the thing that is the most important action that is required by the practice is service delivery improvements and follow-ups. Do what you say you're going to do, follow up when you say you're going to follow up, call when you say you're going to call up, give them information that you said you're going to give them. All of that is critical to the customer because they're still new. They have not converted to seeing themselves as a client in your practice. So you need to make sure that you are doing everything that you can to create an environment where they can be convinced that this is the place for them for all the visual related requirements. And the results that will be achieved when you do that will be a trust relationship that will be well established, continuous relationship building, guaranteed sales, and the beginning of loyalty that will be started or established. The client then, they need, or the greatest need, it's loyalty, VIP treatment, latest improvements that they want to see and experience in the business, right? The action, it's always going to be follow-ups, treating them like, you care, going over and above the normal relationship of you just gave them glasses and you're going to just see them again in 2 years' time. Within the 2-year period, they constantly want to be communicated with differently. Hey, Mr. So-and-so, I know you like glasses and we've got new stock that has come in and we know that you love this type of style, and when it arrived, we had you in mind. And so we just wanted you to come in, just come and see if it's something that you would consider. Or 6 months later, hey, sir, we just want to thank you for all the years that you have been coming to the practice, getting your glasses here. We really, really value and appreciate your time. Always be communicating with clients on that level. The results that will be achieved, they will send you referrals. They will refer their colleagues, their families, their friends to the practice, and it's going to result in more business for your practice. Suppliers, obviously, they need you to use their products, right? The action that is required, relationship building, for example, with call center agents and reps, get them in to do staff training. I used to be a rep myself, and I remember practices that I looked forward to going to as a sales rep were practices that I was connected with the staff members. I was connected with the back office staff. I was connected with the optometrist. They knew that if they can pick up a phone and say, Obi, we've got an emergency and so forth, would you be able to assist us? They knew that I would go out of my way to assist them. And even with me, I also knew that when people are coming or patients are coming and inquiring about contact lenses, because I was a contact lens rep, and they would also be recommending that, hey, why don't you try this product, which was the product that I was being a sales rep for. So there was a two-way relationship that was taking place, simply because they knew what I was expecting of them, and I knew what they were expecting of me. And so we constantly harnessed that relationship, and it made the working relationship much easier, that even when there were challenges, they would never get upset at me personally, because they knew that I was going out of my way. And even with them, I knew that they're busy making reference to our products. They're busy encouraging people about our products. I taught them and I trained them on how to communicate about my product that I was selling. And so invest in those relationships with companies that you're working with on a day-to-day basis, so that they can create a team around your practice, that whenever emergencies arise, whenever a need arises for you to go over and above the norm in helping your patients, you know that that supplier will help you in that regard. So build those supplier relationships is very, very important. And the results was always structured deals, increased service delivery. So the better the relationship existed between the practice and the supplier, the better service delivery that the patient received. That is how it works. Service providers, always acknowledge and appreciate them all the time. Set expectation and guidelines for how the practice and does business, what you prefer, and what is the standard of excellence that the practice has set for himself, so that even when service providers come in and start doing business with you, they know that they are fitting into that standard of excellence that the practice has established, which is very, very important. And what will be the results that will be achieved? Efficient and effective processes. That's what you want. It doesn't matter if you've got great products, great team, great pricing. If the service delivery, it's not at the level at which it's supposed to be, which is excellent, all of those other things don't matter. So it's very, very important that you constantly work on building those service provider relationships to ensure that the service that you constantly giving to your patients, it's top notch. Then the competitors, create a friendly working relationship. The action required, patients first policy. You know, if you get a patient from another practice that was not happy, or that was referred by you, whatever, always get in touch with that particular practice. Acknowledge that, hey, we've got this person from you guys, and we're going to be taking over. Is there anything that we need to be aware of? Can we get the following from you guys? A referral that was sent to you guys, pick up the phone, call the person that did the referral and say, thank you, we appreciate the referral that you said. You know, make that interaction constant. It's very, very important. And the relationship or the results will be referrals. The better the relationship, the more the chances of referrals increasing also happens. And then healthcare specialist, that's the seventh type of individual that you would communicate with. Detailed patient referrals is what is required. Relationship building, right? In terms of the need that is there. The actions that you need to be doing is following up. Always follow up. Very, very important. And the results will always be, you know that if I send a person there, this is what they're going to experience. If I send a person there, that's what it's going to experience. If people get sent to us, this is what they're going to experience. And people, if other healthcare professionals know that, it makes it easier for them to refer people to you. And so those are the different types of relationships that you have within the optometric practice that you need to be aware of. Constantly sit together with a team and say, guys, are we effectively communicating with the different types of people that our business interacts with on a day-to-day basis? And harness that relationship, grow that relationship. Make sure that the communication is at the level that it's supposed to be, so that you know you've got strong business relationships with the different types of people that your practice is dealing with on a day-to-day basis.